And up next, we're going to do one of these. We're going to showcase one of the technologies. Bo, I think that's going to be you with SafePoint Security with Greg Holifield. And let's see here. Let's give. I want to give a little background on, unless you'd like to do that, Bo, but I can give the background on Greg Holifield real quick.
Well, I can do it. I can
Okay,
do it.
I'll turn that over to you, sir.
Yeah, I'll do it because Greg um, has a fascinating background, and I first became exposed to this company when I commanded the 75th Innovation Command and met Greg. Greg started his career as an Army infantry officer and an airborne ranger, and had success doing that. The Army then plucked him in to be a EOD technician. I don't know, maybe they were trying to give you a message there, Greg. But and after success there in both garrison and combat environments, the Army decided, let's take this airborne ranger and let's turn him into a PhD scientist. And so they sent him to school, and then put him to work in Army Research Lab, working on force protection technologies and numerous other things. So it just shows you can go from airborne ranger and slugging around in the mud to working on some of the most complex problems and issues that the Army has. Greg is a successful entrepreneur with multiple exits in everything ranging from water technology to COVID testing. And Greg, thanks a lot for being here today.
Bo, thank you so much for having me, and thanks for everyone for letting me participate today with this. And we're really excited to be able to talk to you about SafePoint today.
Why don't you give us? I know you have some slides, and we're going to actually see, I think, a live demonstration. Or why don't you just give us the 1 minute version of SafePoint, how it came to be, and all that.
Yeah, so the capability itself was developed originally on a set of DoD requirements. We were supporting work in Afghanistan. We had deployed over 1,000 kilometers of fiber optic sensing systems, and we were live operating those daily, for DoD. And the requirement came that as part of sharing the air bases, they wanted the ability not only to tell when somebody was coming, on the U.S. side of the airbase, but whether or not that person was armed. And so the request was to be able to determine over as much as a 3 kilometer stretch whether someone walking across that was armed 9mm and above. And so we were able to do that successfully. You drill a borehole, pull the sensor system through, and then be able to tell anytime anybody crossed that. So a lot of work with ATEC, a lot of testing, Eglin Air Force Base and others. We deployed on the U.S. Southwest border. We did a deployment into Alaska. Really nice sensor system. And that work was done 2012, 2014. And then from there, we decided to commercialize the product to what I'm going to show you today.
Great. Well, let me turn it over to you and walk us through it, and then we'll circle back at the end and close it out.
That sounds great, Bo. Thanks so much. And so if we take a quick look, so the screen that I hope you can see now. So the sensors are setting on the left and right hand side of this entranceway. This is a beautiful cultural site in St. Pete. We've been here for since early in 2019. As patrons enter into this facility on a routine basis, they're being screened by a completely passive system. If the system determines that they are potentially armed, then an image is grabbed and a short video clip is grabbed of them, and then that's conveyed to the security team inside to let them know that person needs to be pulled and screened. And so what we're describing now is what we call free flow threat detection. And so the problem space itself, of course, is the level of gun violence, which we're all too familiar with inside of this. And so, we've all seen the level of violence. I mean, there was a school shooting just yesterday, and it's a too common occurrence, whether it's commercial spaces, whether it's our offices, whether it's the entertainment venues, our cultural sites. And And then, so, for me, Bo, this goes back to work that had gone on right for me personally as a bomb tech right after Khobar Towers. So I spent some time in Saudi Arabia. Inside of that, I had a British bomb tech in the very British way to explain that Americans were doing it all wrong and how we were going about force protection. And that, we were feeding into the hands of terrorists by how disruptive we were, both for ourselves and the extreme measures that we were taking, and of course the amount of ground, in a very American style, the amount of ground that we would take in order to secure ourselves. And we all understand why we go about it and how we understand in that sense. But the bigger point was that, in terrorism or in violent acts like this, the impact goes, much deeper in how it's impacting society as a whole. So how we go about this ultimately is that we try to have a very low intrusive of, the level of impact that we have. And we refer to it just as cost inside of that. So whether it's cost in terms of, everybody lined up behind a gate waiting to get in, whether it's the physical cost of the devices themselves, or whether it's the ongoing, support costs associated. So, we're all familiar with the way, a typical entrance way, all your customers, all your employees, everyone that you care to have inside the facility are standing queued on the other side. There's all this expense that's associated, the guys in red who are standing here to go through really what's your most common items, right? You're ended up showing them your cell phone or your laptop inside of that. And what you really want is to have where, your customers, your employees, everyone you care about are on this side of this, and that everything continues to flow. And that's the way we've chosen to go about this. And so with that, I'll show you. Again, this was the Salvador Dali Museum in St. Pete, which has been, again, one of our most favorite sites that we've been on. Because of the way we developed the technology to be able to see through the airfield itself, to come through the 24 inches of steel reinforced concrete, the sensor can actually see, you can see the sensor element on this side, but it's also located on the other side of the wall. So that the wall that's on the right-hand side in this image, the opposite side of that is being seen through by this particular sensor element. And likewise, we don't have to go within the post. It can go within architectural features that are around. In this case, this is a beautiful, large energy campus in Houston. And they already had these planters that were there. And we were able to install the sensor systems within a very similar planter. Everything works over power over Ethernet. So just like installing a standard camera system into your security system. And so it connects with these two planters and then the camera separately. And then if you've got a wider open, as in this case, you can actually daisy chain these and continue to go. The elements see about 15 feet in all directions. And so there's overlap even to the outside. So as people walk and attempt to go around the edges of this, they're able to see. And that can continue up to several different locations as you've got a large entryway to see. And the key, of course, is not the sensor. And as a technologist, it is where you can overly focus on. The key is ultimately what gets conveyed across, and that's the answer itself. And so, in this particular case, and this is our user interface a couple of months ago at a test that was being run on. It's a blind test that was being run, and this individual is coming into the facility. The weapon is identified automatically by the sensors on the left and right hand side here. Then that's queued across to the security element. In this case, it's queued as what we refer to as a red alert. And so in a case of a red alert, it's very likely to be an active shooter event. And so you can see to the right hand side of this particular person, there's a shotgun. But there were a number of indicators that went along inside of this, including the way that he's all the basic movements that are going on. And while that was a trial that goes on, I'll also share with you some live views from today. And I don't control any of these, but you can see it was about a half hour ago. Just to the right-hand side of the view we were looking at, this individual came through, which is the most common kind of things you're going to have at most sites are your armed security guys entering. And in this case, because he's identified as a known security officer or potential known security officer, then he's identified in yellow to say that it's a caution for this particular facility, and they should verify that this is. But there is a weapon on the campus that's moving in your direction right now. And so this was notified out both through the web interface that you're seeing here, as well as by text and email. And then similarly, about a half hour ago at this hospital, a known security officer within that hospital came through, and we provide both the image and the short video clip to give you an idea of the behaviors that are associated. We've been incredibly fortunate in our ability to get the deployments done, and with that, we've been able to cross a number of locations within the U.S., several hundred over the last 2 years. Now, I was saying, Bo, that we've been incredibly fortunate in that we've been able to get a number of deployments across the U.S. All the green dots are locations where we've got live activity today.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So just to clarify, the technology can differentiate between a gun or a knife or a bomb material and car keys or a cell phone or a laptop, tablet, that sort of thing.
That's right, Bo. So we utilize the characteristic signature of a device in motion. So you can. There was a good friend of mine out of the Army Research Lab in 2006 who had shown that he could differentiate between different weapons types. So you can imagine that you're looking, at a trail somewhere in Central or South America, and you want to know everybody who's walking along that and what type of weapon that they have. So now you have the sort of full complement of everybody who's crossed and what weapon that they have. We extended that with modern machine learning techniques. So we were able to utilize all the current AI tools, and then be able to do not only the weapons types, but then to go down into all the clutter items. So then you could identify cell phones, laptops, like you said, keys, purses, all the common things, rolling bags, all the common things that would set metal detectors off. We're able to characterize that signature completely different from the weapons and the different weapons types. And then the machine automatically identifies those. But the difference, though, in knowing that a weapon's coming in is one thing, and a lot of people, when they think about this problem, they think that a weapon's going to enter into my campus and I'm going to have SWAT instantly flood that. But in the U.S. and in most locations, you actually have weapons on a regular basis that are moving about on the facility, that are legally moving about on the facility, either through a concealed carry or through your own security officers. So the system, when it identifies, the intent is going to be a key aspect of that. So the idea of color coding those and providing you with a known identifier that says this is this looks to us like an active shooter event. This looks like a normal security guard who's passing by, but you need to verify that. And in this way, you can imagine a mall that has this type of technology, or a hotel that has this type of technology, who may have one or a few security officers. They can't cover every entryway that's there. You don't want to have everybody have to be hand wanded every time they come in through these facilities. You want to have the ability to just free move through that. But once they're identified as a potential threat, then to consider where you're going to intercept, how are you going to, what are you going to do in that case? Are you going to follow them in some way? Are you perhaps going to have, the vaporwake dogs have been fielded successfully in a number of locations, to have the dog, but typically it's one dog that's in a very large facility and on a limited set of resources. And so how to optimize inside of that's a key aspect.
So on the screen, we saw one person going through at a time, but I assume you can do multiple people.
No, absolutely. It's all, and what happens, Bo, is it triggers right as, and we can go up to, into thousands per hour. So it's nothing to go 2 per second. So about 7,200 an hour is easy for us to be able to maintain. And that's a wide opening. We typically set up on a 10-foot opening. We can go down to about 7 feet. We can go out to about 12.
Yeah, that's really incredible. I think, for businesses and DoD installations, even where where a metal detector or something like a metal detector is not an option. A lot of businesses in particular aren't going to want that to impact the customer experience, right? So this is a subtle way, I guess, is one way of putting it, of having that protection, of giving security to your security forces a big head start over where they would normally have in a situation where somebody came onto the property that was potentially going to do bad things.
That's right.
So tell us where, we got about 1 minute left here, where you're at as a company and what are your goals over the next year or so?
Yeah, so we spent a good bit of time looking at a bunch of different places in the market and a bunch of different looks across to determine sort of where the best places to go. And the places where we could have the biggest impact early on were inside of that. So we've been very successful in a number of different market segments commercially, and we're very happy with those. So we're going to continue to field and expand across those over the next couple of years. And then, just continue to, as much as we can, to have an impact, across the board.
Great. Well, I know we put your information in the chat if folks are interested in learning more. I think, for folks that are interested in being channel partners in particular, if you think you have a unique access to the market, I'm sure SafePoint would be interested in discussing that with you. Or if you just want to learn more, I think all of us, look at this and we're like, gosh, why isn't this in every school in America, and malls, distribution centers, casinos? There's lots of different applications for it. So, Greg, thanks a lot for taking time. I know as a young, well, maybe not so young, but as a entrepreneur, your time is valuable, and we appreciate you sharing this really unique technology with us. Thanks. Have a good day.
Thanks so much, sir. Thank you.
David,
Thank you.
Going back to you guys.
Yes, sir, General. Thank you so much. I just want to say really quickly, this is a classic example of a company who has a technology or solution that can be used across a broad array of industries, sectors, et cetera, different applications, et cetera. And, the needs of our national security apparatus, from the DHS, FEMA, our security at our airports, et cetera, and the FAA, the military, they all have similar needs, right? And so the commercial side has these needs, and all of national security organizations have similar needs, and we have to leverage the capability of the commercial side into the national security apparatus more. And I'm just happy to see a company like that being successful.